In this video, I'm going to give you the exact step-by-step framework on how to end self-sabotage in the next 90 days so that you can finally reach your full potential in your business, so that you can make more money, and in your personal life so that you can start showing up better for yourself and your loved ones. If you've been repeating patterns of behavior, getting in your own way, procrastinating on the things that you know you should be doing, and quite frankly, not reaching your true potential, then going through the whole of this video step by step will allow you to stop doing the things that you know you shouldn't be doing and start doing the things that you know you should be doing. I'm going to break it down into simple terms for you. I'm going to share with you a few important things that almost everybody misses out when it comes to solving self-sabotage. And because of this, they actually end up back in the unfortunate cycle of self-sabotage. But before we get started, if you've tried to do this and failed in the past, then listen. It's not your fault, so please don't worry. The reason I say this is because they don't teach any of this in schools, so please don't beat yourself up about it anymore, because the chances are, if you struggle with self-sabotage, you would have done plenty of that already. I'm going to share with you everything that, quite frankly, I wish I knew about 10 years ago when I was the king of self-sabotage. I have learned these things the hard way, unfortunately, and oftentimes a little too late. I often wonder where I would be if I knew all of this sooner. And it gets me thinking about how much money I've blown up the wall, relationships that I've ruined, and most importantly, how much time I've wasted. I've wasted a lot of that because of self-sabotage. And the truth is, we only have a certain amount of time on this planet, and it's finite. So we have no idea when ours is up. And every year that you are self-sabotaging with poor habits, behaviors, and coping mechanisms, or getting in your own way by not doing the things you know you could and should be doing, you're losing vital time that you're never going to get back. Wasting time that could be used to show up better in business, to make more money and have more impact on the world, and wasting time in your personal life, preventing you from being the person you want to be for the people that matter most to you. The reason I focus so much on time here is because we can all make more money, but we cannot create more time. So for me, time is far more important. But once you've been able to end these self-sabotaging tendencies, it gives you more time to spend creating a difference in the world, being a good father, mother, being a better business owner, husband, wife, etc. Essentially, being the person that you know that you're truly capable of becoming. Because let's be honest, life is far more enjoyable when you're in control of it, and your self-sabotaging patterns aren't in control of your life. Just like my client Ben, he came to me a while ago. He was sabotaging himself in so many ways, poor habits, poor behaviors, and he knew that if he could finally put an end to them, he'd be able to show up better in business and his personal life. He's gone from doing £1,500 per week to £5,500 per week. Now, granted, this didn't happen overnight, but that's a 266% increase in his business. Now he has better behaviors, better habits that are more aligned to helping him be the person he wants to be. And that's just Ben. We've had over 85 people go through this process too. I will link a video to our testimonial for that. He's actually just signed back up with us in the program for another 6 months too. Also, just like Alex, who didn't have a great relationship with alcohol, and she went through the program, loved it, and managed to have a 20K day inside of her business. And more importantly for her, she now has a better relationship with alcohol. This is the same for Cameron, Chrissy, Issam, Josh, etc. All of these people were struggling with self-sabotage, but now, after working with us, have managed to make self-sabotage a thing of the past. Quite frankly, I wish I could go back 10 years and learn all of the lessons that I'm going to share with you in this video today. So grab a pen, grab some paper, take plenty of notes because I'm going to be sharing quite a lot here and I think you're going to find a ton of value from this. At the end of this video, I will also share with you 2 options that you can take once you've taken everything in. So make sure to stick around until the end. But before we get started, I want to make something very clear here. This video is not for everyone. This video is only for current business owners that have found themselves at particular points in their lives that they are repeating self-sabotaging patterns that are getting in their way, be it personally or professionally. And I'll quickly define self-sabotage. Ultimately, self-sabotage is when you unintentionally undermine or harm your own progress, success, or well-being through actions, thoughts, or behaviors. So, this can mean two things. Number one, not doing all of the things that you know you should be doing. Think procrastination. Or number two, doing all of the things that you know you shouldn't be doing. Think poor habits and behaviors. So if you're a current business owner and can relate to either of these, then this video is for you. If you can relate to both of these, then this video is definitely for you. Now I want to move on to who this video isn't for. This is not for people who do not have a business. Maybe you're thinking, why? Well, I'll be honest with you. I have found that people that I've worked with in the past who don't have a business, they often want quick results. They want results overnight, and I cannot guarantee that because this process that I'm about to talk you through works, but it only works if you actually do the work. But people who run businesses understand that things don't happen overnight. They've built something from the ground up, and they understand that if they do the work, it actually pays off. These business owners also don't have a scarcity mindset. They understand that you have to speculate to accumulate. There have been exceptions to that rule, of course. We've helped Caroline, Kerry, Farah, and a number of others over the last couple of years who have not been business owners, but they have been keen for support, eager to learn, and have been open-minded and understanding that the process isn't an overnight fix. If that's what you're looking for, then you can stop watching this video now and go elsewhere and watch someone who is going to promise you the world and not deliver. Because it's super important that I manage your expectations. This is not an overnight fix. So who am I to teach all of this to you? Well, I'll try and keep this quick. Throughout all of my 20s, I was the king of self-sabotage, and I mean the king. I would sabotage relationships by being unfaithful. I would drink, do drugs. I would make up lies to call in sick to work because of my self-sabotaging tendencies. Then I would feel guilty about the things I'd done and lied about, and then I'd beat myself up for them and then self-sabotage again. And simply rinse and repeat that familiar cycle over and over. But that all changed in April 2021, when my ex-girlfriend finally had enough of me not being a very nice person and kicked me out. I lost my house, my dog, and I had to move 90 miles across the country, and I actually moved in with a friend in his spare room. It was no bigger than a prison cell. And I remember thinking, well, why does this keep happening to me? I always end up spoiling something really good. And then I was thinking one day, well, what's the common denominator here? Well, it's me. Every single time, it was me. I was the common denominator. So I remember after I got out of that really dark place, I remember thinking, no more. This cannot go on any longer. I have to do better. So I vowed from that day forward to stop using negative coping mechanisms to deal with my problems. I said no drink, drugs, or sex to self-soothe, and I'm going to finally do the work required to change. Once I did the work and I finally learned why I was doing it and learned how to stop, then the next year I quit my job and I wanted to help people that are struggling with the very things that I used to struggle with. Since then, we've impacted thousands with our work online. And at the time of this recording, we've had over 85 people go through this exact process that I'm about to share with you to end self-sabotage. So if you're coachable, if you're not in a victim mentality, you are in an ownership mentality. If you're a business owner and want to change, but nobody has taught you how to stop these self-sabotaging patterns, and you want to start being the person you know you've always wanted to be, then this video will definitely help. So let's dive on in. So we found that there is actually 3 key phases that you need to go through in order to finally end self-sabotage. We teach what we call the 3R framework. These phases are phase 1, recognize, phase 2, restructure, and phase 3, redesign. Now, I'm going to go through all of these in brief detail and actually explain why every single one of them require the other 2, otherwise they simply won't work. So firstly, let's look at recognize. Well, as simple as it may sound, it's very hard to solve a problem if we aren't aware of the problem that actually needs fixing. So we need to recognize a few things first. The thing is here that self-sabotage operates behind the scenes in our subconscious mind. Every single behavior that we follow through with will be driven by a reason. I say to clients all of the time, there's always a reason why we are doing what we are doing. The question then becomes why. So we need to recognize the reason behind what we do and why we do it in order to actually solve the root cause of the problem. So many people try and solve the effect and not the actual cause. And this is where they go wrong. What some people do is they just think, okay, I'll stop drinking for X, Y, or Z amount of time, thinking that that solves the actual problem. But it doesn't. It just solves the problem at the surface level. It doesn't solve the real, deeper, underlying problem that needs your attention. The thing is, we all have our own individual self-sabotaging triggers too. There aren't two humans alive that have the same past, the same upbringing, same parents, same religion, same sort of experience. So we're all wired up completely different. So what you need to do here is you need to recognize a handful of things throughout this process. You need to recognize what self-sabotage is fundamentally. This part is crucial. You need to recognize why we all inevitably do it and how it's actually built into our neurobiology. It's actually what makes us human. You need to recognize your own self-sabotaging triggers, and we all have them. You need to find out what yours are. Then you need to recognize what tools are best to deal with your individual self-sabotaging triggers when they arise in the future so that you can combat them. We do all of this with our clients. We have a particular process that we follow that allows people to do a lot of self-discovery. There's assessments, tools, journal prompts that they can use to uncover the answers to everything that we've just covered. But if you want to go away and do this on your own though, it's crucial that you understand that everyone has different things that trigger them or cause them to self-sabotage. And it will require some deep self-excavation to answer all of these questions. It's difficult, but it's absolutely not impossible. The really exciting thing about this is that once you understand your triggers, there'll usually be flawed thinking patterns that you've learned over time. And the reason I say this is because we get a lot of clients that come to me and say, Sean, fix me, I'm broken. And I say it all of the time, you're not broken. You simply have flawed thinking patterns. And the thing is, if you've been thinking this way for 10, 20, 30 years, it's going to take some work for you to stop thinking like this. Because the way this works is simple. The thoughts that we have are usually triggers, and these triggers create a particular feeling. Those feelings impact how we act, or in some people, don't act. And then the way we act or don't act dictates our results. So that's the recognize phase. In summary, self-sabotage operates behind the scenes. And in order to solve our problems, we need to know where it's coming from and why we are doing it. The outcomes of going through this recognize phase is absolutely vital because you'll then be better educated on what self-sabotage is, why you do it, why it's built into us as humans. You'll then be able to clearly and effectively identify your own self-sabotaging triggers, and this will then prevent you from falling down that dark and dangerous rabbit hole that comes with it. Then you'll have a particular set of tools that you can use to implement to stop you from being in pain, hurting yourself, your business, and maybe, most importantly, the people you love and care about. But this is only one phase, and without the next phase, it won't work, and I'll explain why shortly. Next, we want to look at the restructure phase. Now, what we found in the past is that if people don't go through this phase, they can end up repeating all of the self-sabotaging patterns that got them into this mess in the first place. So this is important to drive home because this is the cycle that most business owners go through once they self-sabotage. They self-sabotage, they then beat themselves up for self-sabotaging, they then feel guilty, angry, frustrated at themselves, and that inner critic, that sort of internal dialogue is so loud, telling them that they're a terrible person, etc. And when this happens, and if this sounds like you can probably relate to it, they then self-sabotage again because they feel terrible. And the pattern just continues and continues for months, years, or sometimes even decades. So if you beat yourself up for things that have happened in the past, maybe you're really tough on yourself and you struggle with your self-esteem, then this will be really important for you. So what you need to do in this phase is really restructure the way you think about all of the self-sabotaging things that you've done in the past. You need to restructure that inner dialogue to learn how to stop beating yourself up for making those mistakes. You'll need to really learn how to turn that dial down on that inner critic and turn the dial up on the compassionate self. You'll also need to learn how to stop being your own worst enemy. And once this has been completed, you need to be able to find and utilize self-coaching tools so that when you do make a mistake in the future, you have the skill set to not fall into that self-destructive pattern again. You'll also have to restructure your thought patterns so that you can stop living in the past. You'll then have to break any shame-based negative beliefs that you've picked up along the way because of your self-sabotaging cycles. You will have beliefs that have been created from the things that have happened in the past that are stopping you from moving forward with your life, be it consciously or subconsciously. You really need to find out what they are. The beliefs are a huge part because all of the beliefs that you have had in the past have got you to this point. And if you want to get to another point, a life without self-sabotage, then you need a new set of beliefs. Beliefs that are more helpful rather than harmful. And once you've done this, the outcomes of doing all of this will be that you'll no longer be your own worst enemy. You'll have a much more helpful instead of harmful inner dialogue. Your self-esteem will be so much better. You'll think better about yourself and therefore feel better about yourself. You'll then have all of the tools and resources that you can go and implement so that you don't end up hitting the self-destructive button again. Finally, you will have learned how to stop beating yourself up for your past mistakes so that you can stop living in the past. Start living in the present so that you can make way for a better future. You'll have a completely new set of beliefs too that are congruent with who you want to be. This will then allow you to essentially stop dwelling in negative emotions that are possibly making you lash out at loved ones and not focus on the things that you need to actually be doing. This phase was extremely helpful for our client Micah, who was constantly beating himself up for his past mistakes, constantly living in the past, and had a terrible set of beliefs. He really loved doing this. He said it was tough, but he didn't realize how much he actually needed it. I'll link a video here for you to watch that video testimonial if you're interested. Next, we want to look at the redesign phase. Only once you've gone through the recognize and gone through the restructure phase, can you then start this final phase, which is redesign. This is the phase that now you have recognized the self-sabotaging patterns and you have the tools to combat them. Then you've managed to change the way you think and feel about these patterns and stop beating yourself up for them and increase and improve your self-esteem. Then you can start choosing and creating new patterns of behavior that you want to embody moving forward in order to be the person you want to be. The problem is this will not be possible without the restructure phase because you'll still be beating yourself up. You'll still have beliefs that will be holding you back and keeping you stuck. So what you need to do in this phase is really redesign all of your thoughts, behaviors, actions, and habits. Remember, all of these have got you to this point that you are at this very moment. And if you want to finally start being the person you know you're truly capable of being, then you need to redesign all of your thoughts, behaviors, actions, and habits. So, where do you start? Well, you will need to figure out first and foremost exactly who you want to be. And I don't just mean think about it. I mean really visually future focus about what sort of person you actually want to be for your business, for your family, or for yourself. Redesigning your life means who do you want to be? What do you want to be doing? Where will you be? What will you be spending your days doing, your weeks doing, your months? Then, once you've done this, you need to redesign your core values, thinking about what would the person you want to become truly value. Then once you have your core values, you need to get them into a hierarchical order so that you can list them in order of importance. The next stage is using these core values. You want to redesign your own personal principles. These are action steps that you can work towards every day, every week, and every month. Then this is where the real behavior change takes place now, as we know all of the habits and behaviors that you don't want to have. You now need to learn all about the mechanisms of habits, how they're formed, created, and most importantly, how to stick to them. But in order to do this, you will need to learn what to actually focus on to make sure that these healthy habits actually stick. Because what we found is that most people are simply focusing on the wrong thing. And because of this, they don't actually get the results that they want. After you've worked this out, then the next thing that you will need to do is learn how to break any harmful habits that may prevent you from sticking to these healthy habits. Then the best thing for you to do is to redesign your environment in order to make sure that you have the tools for you to succeed. Because most people have a good enough plan. The problem is that they don't stick to the plan long enough to get the results from it. And because of this, they can often blame their plan for their lack of results, not their inability to stick to the right plan. So, many people self-sabotage in this way. They keep changing the plan all of the time instead of actually sticking to the right plan long enough. I see it every day. People changing their diet plan, their business plan, etc. Just shooting themselves in the foot. Once you've completed all of this, then it's best to make sure you have some form of accountability to make sure that you increase the likelihood that you're sticking to these habits and the plan. Because all of the best people in the world have accountability. Of course, you also want to surround yourself with people who have similar goals, intentions, and values as yourself. The final thing that you will need to do is redesign how you keep track and reflect on everything. Tracking these things is key in making sure that you're able to finally reach your true potential, because you're going to be able to use all of this information to make informed changes and adaptations along the way. I absolutely love this phase, and many of our clients do, because once this has been completed, the outcomes will be you'll have an entire battle plan mapped out to be the business owner or the person that you actually want to be. You will have core values that you adhere to every day, and this will allow you to make better decisions in life and make them much quicker too. You'll also have steps in place to make sure that you're living and breathing these core values and principles. You'll also have the knowledge and the behavioral science around real, deep, meaningful transformation. You'll be able to break your harmful habits easily. You'll then be able to create healthy habits easily and understand how to create any healthy habits again in the future. You'll have all of the resources, all of the skills, the knowledge and the tools on what you need to do to help you succeed and eliminate the chances of you failing. You should also have someone to keep you on track, in line, to again increase the likelihood of you doing all of these things that you've been potentially putting off for so long. You'll also be able to keep track of what's working so that you can double down on it, and what's not working so that you can cut it out. The final phase will be the most helpful for you if you're struggling with clarity, direction, and also struggling to make time for yourself and or your family whilst juggling the business side of things. The redesign phase will really allow you to optimize your time between doing the things that you truly value and bring you fulfillment. So that is the step-by-step framework on how to end self-sabotage in the next 90 days so that you can finally reach your full potential in business and make more money and start showing up better in your personal life for your loved ones. Maybe you're looking now and thinking, well, it's a lot. You're absolutely right. It is. I said it works. I didn't say it was going to be easy. The chances are as well, if you've been struggling with these things for a long time, it's unreasonable to think that you are going to change all of this overnight. Anyone who tells you that they can do this with you in the blink of an eye is definitely lying to you. I know this works. I have done this myself, and I have had over 85 clients go through this process too. Now you know how to do all of this. You understand the 3 phases that you need to go through in order to make this a reality. So what now? Well, like I mentioned earlier at the beginning of this video, there are 2 paths that you can now take. Path A, you know what you need to do now in order to end self-sabotage. These are the things that you absolutely need to do. And if you spend the time and do them all really well, you don't need me to show you what to do. I have already shown you what you need to do. Now you need to go and figure out how to do all of these things. Or path B, you book in a discovery call and you come and work with me. And if we're a good fit together, then we will work with you until you have gone through the whole process. That is what I'm offering to you. There are 3 elements to this option. Not the phases I mentioned before, but the 3 elements that I have learned on how to ensure success with this entire process. Those are structure, effort, and accountability. I provide the first and the third, you bring the second. And together, as coach and clients, we will walk you through the whole process that we have spoken about today inside our Self-Sabotage to Self-Advancement program. At the time of recording this, there are over 45 business owners all over the world that are on the exact same journey as you. They're all wanting to end self-sabotage for themselves and for the people that matter most to them. So you can get access to all of the great people inside of the community that we have created too. Now, I get a lot of questions about the program all of the time, so I'm going to address these right now, starting with the investments. I get a lot of people asking, Sean, what does the program cost? So the total cost for the program at the time of recording this in February 2024 is £3,000. It's a one-off payment that is paid in full, upfront. On the rare occasion, we can do a payment plan, but this is only if we have someone who we feel is a great fit, but is simply unable to invest all of that upfront at once. And I say invest that because you have to look at this as an investment. Because once we've finished working together, my goal for you is one of two things. If you're someone who falls into the category of not doing all of the things that you know you should be doing, think procrastination. Well, once we fix that problem for you, you will then be able to go on and make that investment back and then some, because you're no longer getting in your own way, procrastinating. Or if you're someone who's doing all of the things that you know you shouldn't be doing, think poor habits or poor behaviors, once we fix this problem for you, you will have saved that money because you are no longer getting in your own way with your poor habits and poor behaviors. Or remember, if you can relate to both of these things, then you're going to save money by eliminating poor habits and make more money by eliminating procrastination. You have to look at this not at what it costs, but what you are getting in return for it, just like an investment. I am so confident that I can help, and I have so much conviction in our service and program that we offer a guarantee. And I'll talk about that shortly. So we often get clients that want help with self-sabotage. They've tried many things in the past and it hasn't worked. And they understand the investments. But they ask, Sean, are there any guarantees involved with this program? Now, as I mentioned earlier, the program needs your effort. So we cannot make a guarantee that you make the £3,000 investment and all of your problems are solved, because they won't be. Making the investment gives you access to the program. Remember, I bring the structure and the accountability. You have to bring the effort. Therefore, what we have is what we call a no value found guarantee. Because the truth is, you can't really know whether or not something is helpful or beneficial to you without trying it. So this then gives you 30 days to try it and find out whether you think our program is valuable. And if you get to the end of those 30 days and you've not learned anything, it's not helped you, it's not moved you forward, it's not been beneficial to you, then simply send me an email and we'll give you back your entire investment. Basically, once we start working together, one of two things happen. It's valuable, it helps you, it moves you forward, great. If it isn't, you get your entire investment back. Quite frankly, if you don't believe what we have built is valuable, then I don't want a single penny of yours, and that's that. The next question we get is, what is the time investment? This is another big question that I get asked frequently. The program, all in all, will take you around 60 to 90 minutes per week. There is a weekly coaching call, but you do not need to attend every single week. We all run businesses, so we've designed this program with you in mind. This can also be done at your own pace. Now, you can complete all of this in 3 months. But we actually give you 6 months inside of the program to give you any and all support that you need during those 6 months. There are a lot of tools that we give you, and there's a lot of self-discovery, self-examination at the beginning of the program. There's assessments for you to complete to better help me help you. There's times we work together more intensely, and there are other times where it might be check-ins every now and then. The thing is, you have to remember that human beings are complex individuals. We all have different nuances and all require different levels of support. We have some clients that prefer the one-to-one calls, others that just prefer the group. I have others that I hear from every other day, and others I don't hear from all week until the group coaching. At the end of the day, it's about making sure that our clients get the support that they require in order to move them forward. If you commit the time needed in order to move forward, then I can guarantee that this process has the ability to change your life. You only have to look at our client results and testimonials. This stuff works, but only to the level that you allow it to. If it's important to you, you will make time for it. If you don't have time for it, then it's not important to you. So that's everything that I have to say and everything that you need to do in order to end self-sabotage, reach your true potential so that you can show up better in business to make more impact and show up better in your personal life for yourself and your loved ones. So if you're ready to take the next step on this and want my help to do all of this, then book in a call down below and I will be happy to answer any additional questions that you have and talk you through the process of our program a lot more and talk to you about how we can help you make the changes that are important to you. I hope this video was valuable. Thank you so much for your time and attention.